Now, if you haven't been following sports for probably the last 10 years, or basketball for the last 10 years, you may not be aware of the things that I'm about to get into in this segment right here. But believe it or not, at one point in time, Stephen A. Smith used to lean into LeBron James for his antics and him wanting to be praised without accomplishing anything. And in one particular case, Stephen A. Smith went off and he left Skip Bayless at the time on ESPN First Take. He left him in complete disbelief and shock. Skip Bayless was speechless. But before I go too far into it, I want you guys to take a listen to this audio of Stephen A. Smith leaning into LeBron James after he lost in the NBA Finals when he was playing with the Miami Heat and they lost to the Dallas Mavericks. I want you guys to check this out.
Stephen A., you had a particular problem with it. Go.
Well, he came out and he acknowledged later on that he was joking, if I hear correctly. My whole point with LeBron James is that he just needs to be quiet. The NBA had just canceled the first 2 weeks of the season. People, over in excess of $200 million is being lost. People losing their jobs and things of that nature. And here you are joking as usual. I have no problem with them tweeting because players tweet all the time. Mm-hmm. That's not the issue. It's the fact that he was joking and it was the timing of his joke that I have a problem with. You need to focus, okay, on getting a deal done, getting a collective bargaining agreement reached so you can get back on the court and make up to millions upon millions of fans who watched you wet the bed in the fourth quarter. That's what you need to be doing. I don't want to hear anything about football. I don't want to hear anything about anything else. I don't want to care. I want to hear about their sneakers. I have no problem with Carmelo Anthony, his sneakers, but they got to win too. And Amari Stoudemire being up here yesterday with his tight suit on and all that. I have no problem with that either. I got no problem with none of that. But LeBron James, it is time. And the reason that I say it's time is because he's the one with the tattoo, the chosen one. He's the one with the King James. I want to hear stuff. He's a great guy, and he's got to deal with a lot of stuff. And we, bottom line is he's a great person, okay? And we shouldn't even be focused on anything but his game. But his game has come up short time and time again. And the one other thing that I want to say, Skip, before I leave this to you, and I'm dead serious about this. There's something about LeBron James that's really starting to alarm me. You got titles, King James, chosen one. None of the great guys, they shun all of that until they won a championship. It's like he wants to be crowned with no rings. You don't get to do that.
Skip's been saying
you got to get
years.
it done. And I've been holding off on it because I disagreed with Skip totally. But to lose in the finals the way that he did, and then to come out here with the smile on your face like that, the world is just beautiful. I don't understand it. Champions don't do that. They just don't. That's what I wanted to say.
Sounds familiar.
Why are you so hard on this poor man?
That is funny coming from you. That is hysterical. Oh my God.
Wait.
You of all people.
Do you have something personal against this man?
You know what?
That's all I've ever heard for 5 years.
Listen, man. Listen, Skip. It's got me to the point. I never dreamed that I would see LeBron James not show up in the fourth quarter the way he did for 4 straight games in the NBA Finals. But then to come out and to say what he said in the aftermath of that press conference, people are just going to go back to their regular old lives. And to walk around all summer long, city to city, state to state, wherever he is, big fat smile on his face like, it's no big deal that we lost and I embarrassed myself in the NBA Finals. It's no big deal. I can't take it no more. Enough.
I'm shocked.
Enough.
Skip, I'm shocked.
Enough.
Right now.
Stephen A.
You got to
Bayless.
get it done.
Now, if you guys listen to that clip, you would not believe that it's the same Stephen A. Smith that we see today on TV talking about LeBron James. You wouldn't believe it. At that time, LeBron hadn't won any NBA titles. He hadn't won any championships. So Stephen A. Smith at that time was much more brazen. He was much more in your face. He's still outspoken, but then, he had been called back to be on ESPN because he was there. Then he had his own show. He ultimately left the network. You would see him on Fox News and other places. And then ultimately was recruited back to come work on ESPN by who? Skip Bayless. Skip Bayless said, I want Stephen A. Smith to be my co-star. And now ultimately Stephen A. Smith ended up being the star of that show on ESPN, ESPN First Take, which used to be called Cold Pizza. And now he's the star of the show with Max Kellerman. But Skip Bayless was the one that got him back in the game, so to speak. It was Skip Bayless. So back then, I think Stephen A. Smith was really trying to make a splash and make sure that now that he's back with the network, he stays with the network. And it turned out now he's the number one face of ESPN. When we talk about sports commentators and analysts, he's the number one. He's the biggest one. I think he's the highest paid ESPN analyst currently. So, but at a certain point in time, Stephen A. Smith was leaning into LeBron James, going off on him. But over the years, he began to change his tune on LeBron. And the question is, why did he start to change his tune on LeBron James? That's the question I want us to get into in this episode. Well, you see, what you guys have to understand, or maybe some of you know this and some of you may be aware of it on a very, very, very superficial level, but sports is a big business game. Sports media is a multi-billion-dollar industry. Multi-billion-dollar industry. And I'm not going to sit here and break down all the numbers to you, although we do crunch these numbers, because at Dreamerspro, we're trying to really build a really big company sports media brand and company that you guys can really, really be a part of. And especially as you guys that have started following this channel in the beginning, now we have 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000, 10,000 subs. You guys are the foundation of what we're building. Your comments, your feedback, your support is the foundation of what Dreamerspro will be in the next 5 to 10 years. You guys. And we deeply appreciate you guys for being with us on this journey. So me being a business person, although I love sports, I'm a businessman first. I study these companies. I study the media world, these sports companies, and understand how they interact with different sports leagues and the players and contracts and agents and all of these things. I have to understand that. So I'm not just here producing content. We're not just here producing content for you guys, but we're also trying to improve and give you guys content that you can enjoy for the next 10, 20, 30 years. So you can say, hey, I was there when that company started in 2018, when they first started their YouTube channel in September 2018, and I saw the journey. Now I'm here, enjoying all the other things that they provided. So I'm a historian of this industry. I'm studying it. I'm still learning it. So let me explain to you guys essentially why Stephen A. Smith changed his tune on LeBron James, in case you guys may not be aware of this. ESPN makes about 10 point something billion in revenue. At least that's what they did in 2019. Okay. Maybe 80% of their revenues, 85% of their revenues come from TV deals that they have with major sports leagues like the NFL, or maybe the ESPN broadcast NFL, I'm not sure, but maybe tennis, for sure basketball, and others. And ESPN is currently running a contract with the NBA, a 9-year contract, I believe, where the NBA pays ESPN $2.9 billion per annum to show their games. $2.9 billion, my friends, $2.9 billion. That's not counting all the other hundreds of millions that they generate doing other things that I won't get into because it's not maybe in the future we'll do some sports business videos. Maybe if you guys want that, please let me know. Maybe in the future I'll do some sports business for you guys. Maybe you guys will enjoy that. I don't know. Maybe know the business of sports. Who knows? Maybe one day maybe we can all do. Maybe we'll do business together. Who knows? And I can do some business videos. Let me know if you guys think that's something you want us to cover in the future. Not now, but in the future, we can probably get into that. So, it's a multi-billion-dollar generating company. I didn't say the industry. Now we're just talking about ESPN because there are other sports media companies in the world, Sky and Fox Sports and so many others. But for all intended cases, purpose, we're focused on this particular company. And if ESPN is generating that type of money and the NBA is paying them hundreds of millions of dollars per year, and the face of the product that they're selling is LeBron, you better believe Stephen A. Smith and others need to be very, very cautious of how they go about speaking about their cash cow. Because now we're talking, there's money involved. You're hearing that the NBA wants to get these games going again because of, TV deal, which I'll get into later. So if Stephen A. Smith is the face of ESPN and he's too critical of LeBron, you may have some issues. Some real issues where the upper management may say, hey, watch how you do this. Watch what you're saying and watch how you're saying it. These guys, we're in business with them. And LeBron knows that. And that's why Stephen A. Smith always used to have this thing where, and you guys may remember in the beginning of any critique you'd have of LeBron, let me just say he's a great father, a great businessman, a great basketball player. He always used to joke about this and became a running joke. But it was him essentially putting forth his disclaimer. Have I ticked all the boxes? Have I said all of this? Do I have the green light to now say what I think? Pretty please? And that's essentially the reason why he's changed his tune on LeBron James over the years. Because it's big business, guys. This is big business we're talking about. And essentially, that's the reason why. For more short clips and other interesting shows, be sure to subscribe to the Dreamerspro YouTube channel. And for more in-depth analysis on sports and other events around the sporting world, make sure you follow us on our Dreamerspro Podcast on Spotify and iTunes. Until the next episode, peace.